Okay guys, well, without going into too crazy of detail, the fish were sick. I added salt into the tank, 10 tablespoons of salt into the tank, and then I let that go to see how it was going to do. Didn't really do that great. I lost 2 fish. Things went okay for the next few days. I thought I was over it, and then the last fish that I had ended up getting sick. That time around I started adding in warm water, because one of the things that I read online was to add salt and raise the temperature. That's what will get rid of the ick. So anyway, I had you guys comment and say kind of both sides of the spectrum. I had some people say just add salt and keep it room temperature and that'll solve the problem. And I also had some people say I needed to raise the temperature. So I kind of dabbled with the idea of doing it both ways. All I can say is I didn't have any luck, guys. I ended up buying this heater, and it showed up when I had I had one fish left, and it showed up when I had that one fish left. It worked for about 10 minutes and then it stopped, so I had to send that back. But I tried boiling water and putting it in very slowly, and I had the temperature raised up to 80 degrees, which is where it was recommended to be at. However, I just was not able to keep it there. So it is what it is, guys. I was trying. But, you know, every mistake that I've made is just put me that much closer to being on the right track. That's all I can say. So, anyway, guys, this has been this has been kind of a devastating setback. What can I say? I've been trying to wrap my head around what to do next. Seems like my options are I can let the tank go for 9 weeks with no fish and just let it cycle itself through, and then at that point anything that's left, parasitic, disease-wise, should have died off by then. Or I can keep the tank at 80 degrees, above 80 degrees or so for at least 4 days, and that should kill everything off. Ideally, the 4-day thing would be great, but it's like the heater doesn't work, and I've tried adding hot water in. I can't keep the temperature stable. So that idea is just not practical. And by the time I get a heater back, it's like, you know, probably gonna be another week or so down the road. So I just don't want to spend all that time waiting on things like that. So what I've decided to do is just clean it out and start over. I think one of the problems that I had was that I let the tank get too dirty. It just kind of got away from me and I didn't realize it. One thing for sure, this right here, I had these pieces of grass in there, and I just didn't see it, guys, until it was like there was a problem, and I'm like, well, I better clean everything out. And inside here, there was just a lot of stuff that just built up inside there, and it just got away from me. I didn't realize it. Anyway, my bad. What can I say? I didn't catch it. And something else that I've seen, kind of need a flashlight, but there's inside of here, there's like 2 or 3 spots where on the very bottom it's got a low point, and anything that gets past that starts to settle in right there, and I've got another spot right in here where it starts to settle. So I'm just thinking maybe it's just time that I'd just be better off just cleaning everything out and giving it a fresh go. So that's what I'm gonna do. I think what I'll end up doing is once this is cleaned out, I'm gonna go outside to the outdoor aquaponics, because I don't have any problems out there. I don't check on anything. I basically just let that thing do what it does with no interference from me, and that thing just runs fine. So anyway, I think what I'll do, I'll get this thing cleaned up, let it sit for a few days and dry out, then I'll fill it up with water, and I'll probably dump some water in from the system outside, have it pretty much instantly cycle, and then throw a goldfish or 2 in there and start doing that. One other thing that I did want to mention, guys, that I found out through some of my research here, is that they say the salt method, salt and heat, that's one of the methods to get rid of this ick problem that I had. There's a few other ways to try it, but I felt like that was the easiest, no chemicals and whatnot, so I felt that's the way I wanted to go. But I'm not going to do that again when it comes to catfish. One thing I found out after I was going through all this stuff is fish that don't have scales take this treatment a whole lot harder than fish that do. So the salt and the heat idea would have been a lot easier for like a tilapia fish to tolerate than for the catfish. So because they're a skin fish and not a scale fish, that was harder on them than it would be for most other fish. And you know, something else you start reading about it says that it's either basically water conditions go bad or it's a stress related kind of thing. And I will say, I live in a house with 3 boys that are under 5. We've been inside all winter. We've had cabin fever for quite a while, and this place gets pretty noisy, and I know that it's caused some stress to the fish, all the noise in this house. So that's another thing. I don't know that a goldfish or any other fish is going to be any different, but I feel like I want to try something else. And even if that has no relation to the problem, I still want to try something else, just because the catfish, when you really look at them, they pretty much just took up a small part of the tank. I mean, they really just stayed, when I first got them, they were just stayed in the corner, but I mean, after that, once they kind of stopped schooling together, they really never like came much above like this high in the tank. So there's a lot of this tank that never got used or really saw much activity from fish. So anyway, guys, I don't know that starting over is the right way to go, but that's what I'm gonna do. So next video on this aquaponics system, I'll be filling it up, throwing some fish in there, getting my levels checked, and throwing some plants in there, and we'll get this thing up and running again. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your comments, and everybody that's had something to say about what direction I should have been going with this. I appreciate everybody throwing in and giving me your 2 cents. I'm no expert on this. This is just a whole lot of learning for me, and I'm just basically learning as I go. So thanks everybody that contributes your opinions and expertise. I appreciate it. Peace out. Talk to you guys on the next one.